Alright, so the time has come to finally start tearing this thing down and getting the new turbo setup fabricated and squared away. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I meant to go over all this, I guess, before I started taking it apart and jacking it up in the air. But was out here messing around, testing out some big old 28-inch Hoosiers, which don't really fit without hammering the inner well, but get to that later. But yeah, so I'm getting the thing put up in the air, getting ready to get it all tore apart. I gotta change fuel lines; they're all pretty much bad. I gotta get the fabricate the whole turbo kit. Got this guy over here halfway pulled apart. Got old turbo set up. Got a mess going on here. Other new turbo over here, manifold, and got a couple of sweet things in these boxes here that I'll show probably in a little bit. It's the new intake and intercooler setup. I did already open those up, but you know, you gotta see what you got right the day that it comes. It's like Christmas, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this jacked up and start getting her pulled apart. Got a bunch of stuff to change and go over. Well, got her all up in the air. Get some pretty decent height off these 6-ton jack stands, and it's super sturdy, so and don't worry, those are pre-recall Harbor Freight boys, so don't gotta worry about those collapsing on you. Had those for about 10 years now. But yeah, you can pretty much pull trans out no problem, sit underneath the back of the car and work on stuff. I mean, about the best it gets if you don't have a lift. So I can still go a bit higher, not so much in the back, those are pretty much maxed out, but the front's a little bit lower right now. The garage has a pretty good grade to it, so it's basically actually sitting level right now, even though the back is a couple clicks higher. But yeah, gonna go ahead and get the rest of this turbo stuff, the old stuff, pulled off and clear out some wiring and some breather lines and fuel lines. Get the radiator drain, get that out of there, and see which way I want to run my manifolds. Either these are Faller Speed, I think that's how you say it. Manifolds, log manifolds. I don't know if I want to run them up and forward like this and relocate my coils and make it a pain to change plugs, or put them in the down and forward position and keep my coils on the valve covers and make changing plugs and everything else easy. I'll probably go down and forward. I mean, I'm not doing, like, if you wanted to do down pipes out the back, this would be the way to go because you got all that room underneath the manifold. But I'm not, I'm going out the front bumper, so yeah. I'll go ahead and get started here though and show you what I'm talking about, the manifolds, and see where I'm gonna go from there. Well, we just got home from work and looks like we got some goodies. I haven't seen Jugs ever put a tire in a box before, but I guess that's what they do now. These are some 275 5015s for those wheels over here that currently have some Hoosier slicks on them. Went ahead and bought these off a buddy. There's no 17-inch radials in stock at all, and all the dates are out to after drag week, so that's not going to do me any good at all. So instead of putting a Mickey or a Nitto on this wheel and just riding on drag week the whole time on the same set of wheels, I'm just going to throw these in the back seat with a jack and some other random tools, and we'll just swap them out at every track. I'll put probably, these are bald already right now. These are Nitto 555R, so not going to be able to run on those. I'll probably just put some regular street tires on these wheels. Those will be no problem to get. So So yeah, over in these boxes I got some PTFE line and dash 12 for before the pump, and a couple of fittings. Nice little billet. Turbo drain's got the little O-ring seal on it. Got 2 of those, and a dash 12 weld-in bung for the fuel cell, because currently the fuel cell has 2 dash 8s in there, so I gotta get this guy out of there and get that welded on. Currently the dash 8 is getting adapted up to a dash 10 and going into the MagnaFuel 4303 pump, and it's always kind of struggled like that, but it's been like that for a long time. So I figured, since this fuel line that I took out of the car, it's all dry rotted and done and not really even rated for E85, but it's been in there for 10 years of E85, and it's push lock as well. That stuff was getting old, so I figured I'd upgrade and get the right sizes that I need on it. So this is going to be black hose, actually. The picture on the website says it, but it does say stainless steel, so reading is your friend. Oh, I got some clamps as well to hold all the fuel line. And then this stuff is just Jegs dash 10 for after the pump. That's dash 12 for before the pump and on the pre-filter. I got Jegs dash 10 because it's good for E85 and methanol, so we're gonna give it a try. And I'm sure it'll hold up a little bit better than that push lock, like, I forget what brand hose that is, like Aeroquip, I think. 6 feet of dash 8 to go from the rails, and then 6 foot of dash 6 to go from the regulator to the return line. I just used the 3/8 return line to go all the way back to the tank. Got a bunch of plugs for fuel rails, a Y for the split. I mean, it's got a ton of fittings in here. Hopefully it should do it. I know I just realized I needed a couple more fittings for this line, the PTFE ones, the Fragola stuff from Ocean, because I normally have a shut-off valve plumbed into my feed right before the pump. That way you could service the filter or the pump on the side of the road if you need to, or also just when you're cleaning filters in the garage. Also makes it a lot easier, because obviously you don't get fuel dumping out everywhere. You don't have to drain the tank. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get a couple more fittings for that line to plumb in my shutoff valve that I already have on the car into the new system. But got some Race Star lugs for the wheels down here, hub-centric rings for them. The lug nuts that my buddy had that went with these were for 1/2-inch studs, because he has a different rear end in his F-body. So yep, had to get this stuff for that, but got a whole lot of fittings. Probably need some more, 'cause I'm sure I forgot some, just like I did over here, but we'll get those ordered up and get going on this fuel system. Waiting on a couple more things for the turbo setup. Waiting for T4 flanges to come in before I can start fabbing on this, and I need to get the engine mounts changed before I do any fab work as well, because the current polys on there are shot. But as you can see, this is what was over in these boxes here that I was saying I was going to unbox and show you. Got a Holley low ram. Had to get the dual fuel rail version because, or dual fuel injector version, because you can't get a single rail. They've been out of stock for months, and the date keeps moving months and months out. Every week you check, it moves another week or two out. So I'll just have to plug up the extra holes and plug up the fuel rail ends, which I got plugs over in that box there for that. And I mean, if I ever need dual fuel injectors, then I got it. Just gotta plumb it in. And then this is a Shearer Fab 1800 horsepower rated air to water core with their low profile lid. It's still as tall as a Holley high ram, so there's definitely going to be a hole in the hood, since I just have a stock hood now instead of the cowl that I used to have. But yeah, I'm fine with that. Either that or no hood at all. And then This is a Motion Raceworks Icon 102 millimeter with their billet Y piece, so that should be pretty clean looking when it's all said and done, just coming right off each turbo straight into here. Obviously this radiator is going to have to go in the core support or something, or get laid down. I'm not really sure yet exactly what I'm going to do, but yeah, that's what was in those boxes over there. It's definitely the fanciest stuff I ever bought for this car, so I'm pretty excited to see how it all turns out. It's definitely going to be a lot cleaner than any setup that I've ever had on this car. I almost forgot, I bought these fuel filter mounts that Holley sells. They're like $30 or $40, something like that. They're for these massive Earls and Holley. They have them in both brands, but they're the same thing. You see, no, it's probably not going to focus, but this is a 460, I think, gallon an hour or something like that. They rated it. Flowing fuel filter, as you can see, it's quite large. But yeah, those brackets will hold this, and I think I'm going to mount, instead of my post fuel pump filter, I'm going to mount it, instead of back there on the pump, I'm going to put it on the firewall, I think, here, and then put the Y coming out of the top going to the rails, probably farther down, but that's what I'm going to use that mount for. Probably drill tap or put some nut certs or something down there on the frame rail way down yonder. Since there's all this room right here for activities, I'll put the fuel filter down there, and if I gotta service it, I could just unscrew the top right here and pull the element straight out of the canister, clean it, or swap it out altogether, slap it back together right under the hood here instead of laying underneath the car on the side of the road or whatever, because over the years I've had issues with filters always being dirty. I mean, I gotta clean them at least once a month. I drive the car pretty often, but you don't get a whole lot of mileage out of it before they're dirty. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the fuel lines they used to have on there, the push lock stuff that wasn't exactly rated for E85, like deteriorating, but insides of the lines always look good. So I'm not really sure why the filters are always dirty, but they're always kind of just a dark, dirty substance that comes out of them, and some sandy looking stuff, which is from the 85, and like moisture, I'm guessing, or something like that in the tank. But yeah. Alrighty, so it's day 2, and we got another parts order that came in. More shear fab products, of course, because they are in stock and they are a good price, and they go with the old intercooler over there, so why not? I mean, this tank was only like $275 or $300, something like that. And then, of course, I got the Davies Craig water pump to go with that. Always heard good things about those, so that should be able to move plenty of water for it. And got these, so I'll finally be able to start fabricating on the actual turbo kit. I could have reused my old flanges on the old kit, but they're kind of crusty and they weren't nearly as nice as this. They were round inlet, but they were not like billet with the nice transition inside there, as you can see. These are just mild steel. I'm not that fancy yet with stainless, but maybe one day. My hot side's all going to be mild steel at this point. Even the log manifolds that I bought are mild steel, so might as well just stay all mild steel on it. It'll be coated anyways, so it's not going to rust, and inside's going to be fine. So but yeah, made in USA as well. That's the company right there. I found them on eBay. It was like 70 bucks maybe for both of these, or something like that. Yeah, I think they're like 35-ish a piece or something like that. Not too bad, especially because they're good thickness, 3/8, and they're CNC'd. You know, piece of billet steel. Nice transition inside, and they blow the competition out of the water on the price, even though they're not stainless, but whatever. And made in USA, apparently. I didn't know that. I was just buying them for the price, really. But, I mean, other guys are 170 or something for a stainless one of these. I don't know. I couldn't justify that on just one flange. So I went with those. But yeah, can't wait to get this in. I got a rear seat delete coming for this thing. My plan is to put that in the back seat on the passenger side on the rear seat delete panel, and then run my lines straight out the floor through the bottom, possibly. I don't know. I might get one of those bulkhead fittings. I'm not sure yet. From Motion, they have like a billet bulkhead deal that bolts to the floor, and it's pretty nice. Not too sure yet. I didn't order any fittings or lines yet. I'm going to get the turbo kit and all that stuff fabbed up and get that squared away, and that will probably be the last thing I do. First thing, I'm going to work on the fuel system a little bit, the stuff that I unboxed in the last clip, and get that going. I needed to order a couple more fittings. Those are on the way now. So once those fittings get here, some of the stuff that I overlooked with the fuel system, once those fittings get here, I'll be ready to go with that stuff too. I should be able to knock that out in a couple hours actually. So this is going to be the biggest thing, is getting this all fabbed up and getting these turbos on here where I want them and getting that all figured out. Got 3-4 weeks, like I said, I think before, to get it pretty much wrapped up and roadworthy. So it is going to be quite the ordeal. And just hope everything goes smoothly, because this is not the motor I'm even using. I have a 6.0 that I still have to go through and install a cam and springs and all that good stuff in and get it in the car and get that trans that's in here also refreshed. So, yeah, I better stop talking and start getting to work and get this done, because I got drag week coming up here fast.